Don't panic. Okay, so this is the third iteration of Dead Cells, the first being the initial early access release, the second being the wonderful Elemental update, and the third being this wonderful Sound of Silence song reference. I haven't actually played the game in like a month, and even when I last played it I didn't actually explore everything that was added in the Elemental update, so I imagine things are a fair bit different than they were when I last played. As such, I'm actually going to reset my save slot, just to see things through from the beginning, and also so that way I can actually unlock the items with a bit more intelligence, namely not unlocking the shitty ones. Because boy howdy are there a lot of terrible items cluttering up the item pool at the moment. At least there were as of the last update. They may have changed that somewhat. Oh yep, here we have the fixed intro. Been a while since I've seen this. Been a while since I've used the default rusty sword weapon as well, since for some reason you actually lose access to that once you have your starting weapon randomized. At the very least, I never saw it as part of the weapon pool anymore. And they really should reintroduce it because it is actually a solid weapon. There's nothing amazing about it, but it's surprisingly decent, especially to start with. I'd actually say that at the moment it's better than some of the weapons that you can actually unlock. Like the Assassin's Dagger, for example. I never was a fan of that one. Alright, do I go with the bow or the shield? I'm interested in trying out shield combat a little bit more since I never used it too much and they have made updates. Did come in handy there. Sadly, the default rusty shield ain't exactly all that good for providing special effects. Hopefully I'll pick up a better shield soon enough. Game does seem a tad choppy. I probably should have tested out the quality a little bit. It's mostly fine though. More gold early on. I'll always take that. Hopefully I actually come across a shop soon enough. Oh wow, more kebabs, damn. That's actually an option I should change. I believe it's one. Yeah, they specifically have a menu, a sub-menu in the options menu. Specifically to decide which bits of meat you actually end up getting. I'm curious what the food is if I choose monsters, so... Oh, it actually changes it right there, guts. Yeah, it's pleasant. Kind of fitting given the whole biological cells theming. And there's our first blueprint for the blood sword. I wonder if that's guaranteed to be the first blueprint that you acquire when you do get one to drop. Because I've noticed from watching other people play through for the first time that it always seems to be the blood sword that drops first. It could just be a coincidence, I suppose, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was weighted that way. Just given how solid of a weapon the blood sword is, they want to make sure that one of the weapons you unlock early on is actually pretty good. Oh wow, I'm so used to being able to explore the first level in its entirety that I'm kind of at a loss as to where I need to go, now that I can no longer grow those vines. If you've not played Dead Cells before, those little tickle spots on the ground can grow vines from if you have the right item, but I don't have it just yet. I'll have to get far enough in the game to unlock it. And it's weird just not having that from the get-go. Alright, do I try out the optional challenge zone? Maybe not just yet. I want to see if I can upgrade my equipment a little bit more. That flashbang behind that door would be useful. I'm not sure if it's worth spending 1,000 golds. I'll see if there's a merchant on this floor that I can access first. After all, they might have a somewhat better inventory. And of course I'll have a better chance at beating the challenge if I have more upgrades, like this health here. This actually doesn't help for the challenges, since unless they've added any, it's just getting through without taking any damage. So obviously more health doesn't really help with that. But who knows, maybe they've added new challenges. That's one of the things I really want to see. It would make doing those bonus challenge zones more interesting. Oh, tried to use my shield there, but I screwed up the timing. Try that on this guy. They do show an exclamation mark right before they're about to attack, which is when you need to dodge or block. But it's split-second timing, and I have bad reaction time, so I tend to have to rely on pattern memorization more than anything. Muscle memory, that sort of thing. Rather than immediate reactions. Oh, see right there, I tried to react to its leap, but was unable to do so, due to those aforementioned poor reaction times. At least I picked up a pretty good weapon upgrade, and hey, first skill. Well, that's not a bad one. It's not a great one either, but it's solid. Ah, here's the merchant I've been looking for. With a pretty good inventory too. Damage reduction is always solid. Ice grenades are amazing, just being able to freeze a crowd of enemies. Balance Blade is a faster weapon than my current one, with slightly increased damage. Not much though. And it has a very good randomly generated effect. I'm tempted to save up. I don't have too much more to go. And a Scroll of Power is a free level up of my choice. That's also highly tempting. Alright, there's the exit, the only one I can access at the moment since I don't have any of the upgrades that allow me to access other areas. So that means I think these enemies here might be the last enemies in the stage. Let me head to the nearest teleporter and just make sure that there isn't anywhere else in the area that I can explore. Oh, hey there! Well, it's not odd that you haven't managed to catch me streaming live, since I honestly don't stream all that often. Occasionally I'll get in the mood to try and stream a bunch, but I always get disheartened by it, but who knows, maybe one of these days I'll actually get into streaming long term, for reals. Okay, it looks like there might be a... No, that pathway over on the right is blocked off for me, yeah. I've explored everywhere I have access to in this first level as of the moment. So, do I pick up the ice grenades or the balance blade? I remember quite liking the feel of this weapon, and that is a really good randomly generated bonus, that one in green, so let's go with it. As good as the twin daggers are. Gotta love that weapon spam. And you'll see just how good it is once I actually find some enemies to kill with it. Alright, so let's move on to the promenade then. Wonder how far I'll actually be able to make it in this run. The equipment that you start out with the ability to get that's automatically in the item pool is pretty good. And since none of the persistent upgrades are actual passive upgrades to your character, those just are found randomly as you progress through the stages. You're not actually in a worse off position to do a winning run as you are at the start than you are later on when you've unlocked more stuff. So it's certainly not out of the cards for me to be able to win this run. If anything prevents me from doing it, it's probably going to be my rust from not having played this for a few weeks. I should probably funnel those 3 cells into the blood sword unlocking. As I mentioned before, that is a fantastic weapon all around. It's hard to go wrong with that. Yeah, the collector ain't exactly a patient fellow. Oh, and fantastic, now that I've made it to the break room, I finally have a healing flask as well. Which is probably the most useful upgrade you can possibly have. Lets you make up for any mistakes that you don't recover with via rally. I also just procced an achievement for some reason, I'm not sure why. I've been to this stage before, maybe that's unlocked for getting to here the first time. And since on my previous file I did that before they added the achievements, it never procced. Oh, I was about to ask what just hit me. That is a real dick move, placing that single set of spikes that I did not even notice. The mace kind of blotted it out in my vision. So, killing enemies releases biters. It's not too useful at the moment, but if I can get into crowds of enemies, it'll become very handy indeed. If I can kill multiple enemies at once, it's just swarms and swarms of biters being unleashed against all the enemies. Like so. Pretty useful. I just had the thought that I probably would have been better off replacing my shield with the sword and keeping the daggers. Having 2 modes of primary offense would actually be really useful. Definitely more so than the shitty rusty shield. Oh well. Foolish decisions are my nature. Yeah, this game can be at times Dick Moves the game. It does limit that somewhat. One of the things I really like is the fact that you can move the camera around. I've been playing some other 2D games as of late, and one thing that constantly gets me in trouble in most of them is your inability to move the camera around. That and the screen sometimes being a bit too zoomed in, like it's a GBA game or something, which means that you end up getting screwed over because the enemies end up being out of your range of vision, even though they're still able to interact with and attack you, and it's so goddamn annoying. One game in particular that has that issue very strongly is Velda's Story: Abyssal City, a really fun Metroidvania. But so often I end up getting screwed by enemies that I can't actually see. And that's something that this game mostly avoids. But it still does have its own dick moves on occasion. Okay, I am not handling this well. Let me just take down the enemies one by one. Even if my balanced blade doesn't have a huge amount of damage, my ground stomp makes up for that when I have the chance to actually use it. It would also probably help if I actually used my bear trap for once. I keep forgetting I have that. I'll try that in my next encounter. It immobilizes an enemy and makes them take more damage. Useful against big targets, less so against crowds, but it can still be useful on occasion. Alright, I've taken enough damage that I think it's time to use my healing flask. Better than being one-shot. I wonder if I can block these guys' charge. I can! And it does enough damage on counterattack that it immediately kills them, thanks to the low HP. Fantastic. Alright, let's see what the merchant has to offer. Wow. It might just be me, but I think they increased the merchant prices in this latest update. They were definitely generally cheaper before, usually all under 2k at this point, or not much more than that. But here we have them going all the way up to 5k, geez. Can't really afford anything except for this grenade. I do like that +1 to strength, that's basically a free level up as long as I keep the grenade. But having a truly permanent level up of my choice is probably better in the long run. I'll avoid purchasing anything for now. I'll see how much gold I can stack up with the rest of the stage. Yeah, I remember liking the balanced blade a bit more, but I guess maybe that's just my faulty memory. Because the damage of this thing ain't exactly the best. It's not bad, but it's a bit weak for my liking. Hello, Wazin. I definitely want to trade this thing up for something a little bit better as soon as I get the opportunity to. I haven't been too lucky with weapon drops thus far, though. That's the name of the game, though, when you have a game that's procedurally generated. Sometimes you just get poor luck. At the very least, this game is less reliant on RNG for having a good run than something like, say, Binding of Isaac. I think that's the main reason why, as much as I like Binding of Isaac, I've never put a huge amount of time into it, at least compared to other roguelites that I played. Just because so many times you'll end up with a run that just isn't feasible to win because you just got shitty items. And that's just, it kind of takes the wind out of your sails, or at least it did mine. I should return to that game at some point though. I haven't played since they released the, what was it, Afterbirth Plus DLC? Although my understanding is that that was not too favorably received by most of the community, so maybe that's for the best if I don't. Okay, I've explored everywhere that's currently open to me, so nothing for it but to go on and fight the elite enemy that's ahead. Hopefully I don't die here. I would like to unlock the permanent upgrade. I might be able to do it since I have this bear trap though. I see that as being very useful. So I have to wait for him to fully spawn, and yep, now you can't do shit. Okay. Just taking a moment to catch my breath away from the enemies. I'm gonna try and drag its minions over here and then rush after it. Alright, not off to a great start. Fortunately, when it's locked in the bear trap, it can't turn around. Okay, I didn't exactly manage my dodging all that well there, but the bear trap made up for my slack. Nice. I never was too fond of this item before, but it is actually fantastic for locking elites into place. They can still attack, but they can't actually turn around, so if they're reliant on turning around on aiming to do their attack like the archers, that does a very good job of immobilizing them. Nice. Oh, wasn't there another vine I could have grown earlier in the stage? I thought there was. Maybe I'm misremembering though. Yeah, I must be. I can't see where that would be on the map. So I don't think I have enough gold to purchase that level up at the merchant. Yeah, I'm afraid not. I believe that health upgrade that was over here was behind a gold door. That should only be, yeah, around 1k. I have enough to pick up this and the grenade, and that's basically 2 effective level ups, since the grenade had that +1 strength bonus, so I think that's the best use of my funds at the moment. Oh shit, I didn't do the mental math right, damn it. I'm about 300 under. Oh well, that's fine. I'd rather have the permanent health upgrade if I had to pick between the two. Alright, that's it for the promenade. Let's move on to the ramparts. I think that's the stage that leads from the normal exit. Oh, perhaps there is a bit more of the stage to go. I could have sworn the exit was closer by, but I guess that's just my faulty memory as usual. Now, can I actually make it to the exit is the question. I'm not exactly in good health here, quite literally. I'll have to handle each of these combat scenarios carefully. Unfortunately, locking down the shield scarecrow does not prevent it from providing its shields to the enemies. I was hoping that it might. Okay, I rallied most of that back. That's not too dire of a situation. I think I might still be able to handle one more hit from an enemy as long as it's not too strong. I think I'm gonna be less efficient about killing things, like I'm gonna ignore some enemies if I have the ability to do so, just to make sure I actually make it to the end. Oh god, spikes. Spikes do a lot of damage. I gotta be careful around those. Alright, free item. What's in the box? Oh, there's that shield upgrade I've been looking for. The gold tooth one is nice because it gives you a little bit of extra money if you consistently block enemy attacks. And that bonus of enemies releasing a toxic cloud when they die, I don't remember if that means I have to kill them with the shield rebound, or if I can do it with my regular weapon, or if I need to guard one of their attacks and then I can kill them normally, and it'll still unleash the cloud. I don't remember exactly how that shakes out. I'll have to relearn that, I guess. But even if that doesn't turn out to be too useful for me, just getting the gold teeth will be very helpful. Okay, I attracted more enemies than I meant to. Let's get rid of the flyers first, since they can come from surprisingly far away. Deal with regular Skelebo there, perfect. Ooh, that was close. Nearly made a wrong move there. Let me take down the Grenadier before he turns out to be too much of an issue. Because he's gonna keep lobbing grenades no matter where I go here. That's the annoying thing about them. They don't do too much damage, but damn if they aren't pesky. A teleporter up there. I'd rather not deal with that. Yeah, remember what I said before about ignoring enemies if I have the ability to do so? I'm gonna employ that right there. Ah, here's the exit. Perfect, okay. So at this point, I'm pretty sure I have enough gold to purchase that grenade. Hopefully my mental math is correct this time. It is, perfect, okay. So that gives me an effective level up for my regular weapon damage, and now I have a grenade, which is a pretty solid skill. So I'm happy with my current loadout. I don't feel like exploring the places I've left behind that still had enemies, because I'm at risk of dying if I do that. So I'm just going to move on to the ramparts and take my free heal in the break room. Ooh, I have a good amount of cells as well. I'll be able to unlock some stuff. Definitely going with the blood sword. That is a fantastic weapon. And I actually tested out the Spartan sandals. That was the last new weapon I used when I last played, and I quite liked it. So I'll definitely want to add that to the pool post-haste, and despite its fairly high unlock cost suggesting it's a good weapon, I think I'm going to avoid unlocking the Assassin's Dagger on this file. In my opinion, it's not that great. It does a lot of damage if you strike enemies from behind, but a lot of enemies don't actually have a proper behind. They are the sad buttless, which means that this bonus is nigh worthless, and when you don't employ this bonus, the weapon itself is pretty hot garbage, which is why I'm not a huge fan of it. I should probably start funneling cells into the more permanent upgrades. I need to unlock 9 more items before I can start with a random melee weapon, which is probably the best persistent upgrade you can get, period. Being able to start with something other than the default rusty sword is fantastic for making the early parts of the runs actually somewhat interesting. It'll be a while before I have that though. Let's go with the gold recovery from run to run. That is a useful bonus and makes the start a little bit easier, especially once you get to the point where you can actually go to the toughest stages earlier on. I guess I might as well work to the healing potion upgrade as well. That's a very useful one to have. So let's see, Spartan sandals straight up poison the victim when I attack them. That's pretty good. Despite the fact that I didn't use it too much, I think I might give up the greed shield immediately. Spartan sandals are just too good. And I think I'll be swapping out my balance blade as well for that blood sword. I've talked the thing up enough, I might as well show off why it's as good as I've been saying it is. Alright, third stage, ramparts. I just realized I might not actually have the best setup for this stage. I remember the main feature for this stage just being huge hordes of weaker enemies, so you kind of need stuff that is good at attacking crowds all at once. And I don't exactly have that with my current setup. I guess the grenade might be pretty useful at that, we'll see. Oh, hold on. Whoa! That was odd. I guess I started to do a ground pound there. That was a misclick on my part. Okay, I'm basically 2 rooms in, and I'm already at half health. Not the best sign, I realize. But surely you can see just how strong bleed is if you can manage to stack it. It does insane amounts of damage when you proc it a bunch of times like that. Let's play around with the sandals a little bit. So it stuns the enemy, and it makes them take damage if you manage to knock them off of a cliff, as well as stunning any enemies that are nearby when they land. It's not a directly damaging weapon, but it's a very useful support one. Like so. Let's just teleport back. That's a bit quicker. This, by the way, is, in my opinion, a feature that all Rogue-lites should have. The ability to teleport between rooms that you've already been in. This game has it, Enter the Gungeon has it, and very few others, even ones where it would be very helpful, actually have it. Binding of Isaac is a good example. And it's so annoying because having to proceed through rooms that you've already cleared doesn't actually add anything in terms of challenge or interaction. Since you've cleared them of enemies, there's nothing that's threatening you there. It's basically just a time tax, which I guess in the case of something like Isaac does add a layer of interaction since there's some speedrunning stuff in that game, but it's not a particularly interesting one, at least in my opinion. A roguelite I've been playing recently that is one of a number of FPS roguelites that have come out in the past few years actually has that issue. Immortal Redneck. That is a very fun game, but god damn it is it annoying when you actually make it to the room that has the stairs leading to the next floor. And then you realize, oh fuck, I have to backtrack through like 5 or 6 different rooms to actually explore the rest of the floor, which you generally want to do to make sure that you have enough upgrades proceeding on. So yeah, props to this game for actually having a teleport system. Really, it's just very impressive how well this game is considered in general. Like, usually when a game is released on early access, that's code for it being very rough, but this game is incredibly well polished for what it is. Alright, I aggroed that elite enemy. I'm gonna see if I can't clear out any other enemies that are nearby so they don't start harassing me when the elite starts teleporting around as I deal with it. Honestly, it might be best if I just ignore it, but I'm kind of a glutton for punishment, so I'm gonna use my healing charge here. I have a bear trap which I can use to immobilize it, and we saw how successful that was with the Archer Elite before. And I have pretty good damage potential. I might try and take down that one gremlin first, just so I don't have to deal with him while fighting the elite and the small mobs that he spawns. Okay, that did not work out how I had planned. Oh, so what's new and shiny for this update? Yeah, so I didn't read the patch notes super thoroughly, but my understanding is that there are 2 new enemies, some new items, and I think there might even be a new stage added into the progression. It'll be a while before I can unlock that, I'm assuming, since, you know, I started from fresh. But yeah, they added some interesting stuff. Okay, well, that exactly didn't go so well. Really, the difficult thing is that the archer is in a very small room that I can't approach easily without having to face its arrows head-on. If I can get it to its second phase where it starts teleporting around, I think I might actually have a better shot, since I can drag it to a bigger room. I'm dead, yep. Oh, I knew that was a mistake as soon as I started engaging it, but I went for it anyway. As I said, glutton for punishment. Oh well, that's fine. You have to die eventually. And doing so on the 3rd stage is by no means pathetic. That's where the difficulty actually starts to ramp up after all. I am very glad I picked up that gold recovery bonus. Starting with 700, I'm not complaining. Yeah, it turns out bows are good in enclosed spaces, so let's use that to my advantage and actually pick up the bow this time. Which is pretty solid. I wonder, I'm not sure if there are any bows in the item pool from the start other than the default bow. I think they might all be unlocks, I'm not sure. I'll have to check with the collector and see what items are there from the start. If so though, it might be a long time coming for me to actually pick up a better bow, which is unfortunate. Ooh. That is a pretty nice shield over there. It might be worth swapping out my starter bow for that, I'm not sure. I did want to practice with blocking a little bit more. You know what, sure, why not? The starting bow ain't exactly all that hot shit, so I don't mind passing it up even for a shield. We'll see how this goes. The stunning ability certainly is welcome. Plus it's fun to do this whole timing block parry mechanic thing. Ooh, now there's a weapon upgrade, the Nutcracker. It's a bit slower and weaker than the default, but it stuns anything that has more than 75% of its health. So basically a guaranteed stun when you first engage something, and aside from elites, if you engage something, you're generally gonna kill them within a few seconds. So that stun is basically guaranteed versus anything you end up fighting. It does have a little bit of a wonky hitbox, it seems. It doesn't really hit close to you, but shouldn't be too big of a deal. It might actually be a little bit slower than it used to be. I remember it being faster, but my memory isn't exactly the greatest, so I'm not gonna bank on that. Okay, so toxic sewers. That's one exit that I absolutely have open to me. What if I should go there instead of the promenade? It's a bit of a jump in difficulty, but that also means it has better gear more quickly, which is nice. Oh wow, that is a fantastic bonus to have for something that freezes. Reduces the chance of unfreezing an enemy when attacking. So now when I attack them after they're frozen, they're not guaranteed to be defrosted. Like what happened right there. Sorry for making all that racket there, shopkeep. I just like stomping. Okay, so he has an assortment of amulets. Makes you invisible after 5 seconds. Oh, this is a good one. Invisibility is fantastic because it treats it as you basically being invincible. Enemies can't see you and you can phase through them as well. Very useful for getting a breath of fresh air if you can get away from the enemies. 30% damage reduction is nothing to sneeze at either. Of course, level ups are always useful. I'll wait before making any purchases and see how much gold I can collect. I might be able to pick up 2 things there if I'm lucky. But not if I open up this gold door, which I'm absolutely gonna do. +1 to skills is always a fantastic upgrade to pick up. It's funny, despite being kind of the secondary weapons, in a lot of cases, skills end up being your primary form of offense. There are some skills that are just so goddamn powerful, especially if you get skill upgrades, that they are much stronger than any weapons you could possibly use yourself, while also being usable at a distance unless, you know, safer. Alright, so I can only pick up 1 thing here, I'm afraid. So, do I go with the 30% damage reduction or the level up? I'm gonna be encountering plenty of level ups as I go along, and I have no idea if I'll encounter another amulet with a bonus this good, so I think I'm gonna go with the amulet. Because enemies start to do insane damage in the later stages, so having that reduced by 1/3, very useful. Alright, let's try out the toxic sewers. I don't remember them being too bad. There is one somewhat nasty enemy type there that you can encounter, but it's mostly manageable once you know that it exists. Yeah, looking at the item list, it appears that no bows are a part of it. So I'm actually going to have to unlock any if I want them to drop. That's unfortunate. So in that case... yeah, let's keep going with the healing potion upgrades. More heals is always useful. Alright, time to go walking about in shit. Why exactly are sewer levels a thing in video game design? Like, who was it that first thought, oh yeah, you know what would be a good idea for level design? Walking around in literal human excrement. The players will absolutely love and not hate that, especially if we make the sewers cramped. Cramped close quarters where you're wandering around in waste that sometimes literally poisons you. Oh, our players are gonna love that. Like, seriously, why is that such a common video game level archetype when it's so bad in concept? Fortunately, this sewer level ain't all that bad. The worst thing are those scorpions, since they will just come up out of any ground. I think they can even come up out of these pipe grounds as little sense as that actually makes. So they're pretty good at ambushing you. Just gonna freeze you while I deal with the gremlin. So yeah, the Nutcracker's damage definitely does leave a lot to be desired. It doesn't help that it's a tier 1 weapon, and I think the game expects me to have a tier 2 or tier 3 weapon at this point. I'll have to trade this up as soon as I get anything else. But it's the luck of the draw, whether that actually ends up being the case or not. Hopefully the game ends up being kindly to me. Well, that's not so kindly. Dropping the valuables in the water that's gonna poison me. It's not gonna do too much damage, so I am gonna go pick it up, but damned if that doesn't bug me a little bit. Ow, ow, ow. It was worth it. That was a 2k gold right there, which is fantastic for my funds. Alright, these guys are assholes because when you kill them, they explode into explosive spheres. And those Kafifi orbs do surprisingly large amounts of damage. I'm not going to show that off if I can avoid that, by the way, because just trust me when I say it does a lot of damage. Alright, another challenge area. Might as well try this one out. I never actually went back to that first one I unlocked. I completely forgot about it. Yep, same challenge as always. Kill all the enemies and make it to the exit without getting hit. I'm honestly not sure if I can do that just because of the Nutcracker's kind of shit damage. We'll see. Yeah, it takes so long to kill these dudes that I'm honestly not sure if this is doable. If it was just making it to the end without taking a hit, I could not do it since I just got hit right there. Never mind what I was saying. Oh, I trusted my skills too much, it seems. Yeah, let's heal up. Now's as good a time as any to do that. Come on, game. All I'm asking for is a single weapon upgrade. That's all I need. Oh, those enemies are nasty. They do one thing. They home in on you and they explode, so I guess that's technically two things. They only have a single hit point, so you can do anything to them to kill you, but if you're not quick on the draw, they're gonna explode right in your face and do kind of an obscene amount of damage. The fact that I have a very slow to respond weapon certainly doesn't help with me dealing with them, that's for sure. And the game just monkey-pawed me a bit there. I asked for a weapon upgrade and it gave me one, but I can't actually access it. You were such a tease, game. Okay, wow, there are a lot more enemies here than I thought there would be. I thought they'd stop, but no such luck. Thankfully, they are all grouped up for me to use my ice grenade. Alright, skill up, I'll take that. It's not exactly the item I was looking for, but it'll do. Now if I could find the shopkeeper that I'm pretty sure has to be in this level. I don't think there are any levels that are absent of shopkeepers except for maybe the last one. I guess I'm just having poor luck with the paths I've decided to go down. Let's see. I'm trying to see if there's a hint of a shopkeep on the map anywhere. Doesn't seem to be, so it would have to be up this pathway over here. Hopefully they'll have a selection that's useful to me. Like weapons, for example. I would also take a weapon free from the box. Well, not quite what I asked for, but it is an ice grenade with fantastic bonuses. Look at that one. The victim suffers bleed damage when it thaws out. That is incredibly useful. Not to mention the fact that I now have double freezing capabilities. Here we go. A merchant without any weapons. God damn it. Freeze spell is useful, but it doesn't do direct damage. Those are some nice bonuses, though. I might go with it. I'm not sure. I think like last time I'll hold on to my gold for now. There might be a weapon behind a tax store, for example. And if I spent all my money and then encountered that, I'd be very pissed off. Alright, there's an elite enemy over to the right here. I'm probably best off ignoring it, given the fact that I don't exactly have good damage output. I might consider tackling it if I can find a weapon upgrade. Elsewise, it's probably best left alone. You know, I think the damage of my Nutcracker is so poor that the ice grenades, which are not designed to do a lot of direct damage, are actually doing more damage than it. Yeah, I think that's actually the case. That is kind of amusing. Well, that's not good. At least I got to show off just how damaging those death orbs are. Kinda wish I hadn't, though. Yeah, I'm just gonna roll. Okay, nope. I didn't realize that would trigger it. Just gonna ignore you. Alright, that's the exit that leads to the ramparts. Still not sure whether I should go there or to the old sewers. Ooh. I have been asking for a weapon upgrade, and I have a pretty good chance of getting one from this cursed chest. Alright, let's open this cursed chest real hard. Oh yeah, you're a naughty chest. So, I have to kill 10 enemies. If I take a hit within that time, I die, no questions asked. See if I can deal with this curse. So, a lot of gold, that's fantastic. The item I got, unfortunately, was a shield, which isn't the most useful. Burn and freezing when pairing, though, that could come in handy, and it's definitely better than my current shield. And this level up should be useful. Give myself a strength upgrade. Maybe I'll be able to do okay damage now with my Nutcracker. Alright, unless I want to go fight that elite, I've done everything here, so let me just make my purchase. Yeah, I do want to test out that shield, so I think I'm going to go with the level up over the Frost Blast. Let's get a health upgrade. If I actually manage to survive this curse, that should come in handy. And I think I'll do the rampart, since I died so early on in there. We didn't even get to the point where we get to see the swarms of flying enemies. Yep, just gonna keep on funneling into that healing potion until I actually unlock weapon blueprints that interest me. That's the best option I have, I think. Alright, ramparts, take 2. Oh, I'm actually doing okay damage, I think, with that strength upgrade I picked up. Still not amazing, but combined with my freeze grenades, I might actually be able to survive until I actually pick up a decent weapon. Assuming I ever do, that is. The game might just end up being a huge prick to me and never actually give me a weapon upgrade that I can acquire. That would certainly be a thing. Alright, 3 more enemies and I'm safe from the curse, so let's handle this carefully. Another gold shield! Thanks, game. I really needed that. Okay. Mage and shield jerk. Damn, that bleeding on thawing effect saved my bacon there. Okay, 2 enemies down there, 1 over there, 1 here by its lonesome, I can deal with that. And thus the curse is removed, and I can actually play a little bit more cavalierly now. I don't have to be as much of a coward. So 10 minutes ago, that means I would have needed to have made it to this door within 6 minutes. These things are still ridiculous. You have to go through the stages so fast and miss so many items unless you just get lucky and happen to have them on your critical path in order to actually make it to those doors in time to open them, that they're really not worthwhile. Especially since last I checked, the rewards that were behind them weren't exactly all that amazing. Just a chance at a blueprint, some gold, and like maybe a high tier weapon. Not worth what you have to give up in order to actually access them. Who knows though, maybe they've improved that. Well, that was a useless series of rooms. I guess it got me some golden cells. The foibles of procedural generation. I wonder why it is that procedural generation for your levels and item placements and stuff like that is so tied to the roguelite genre. 'Cause not all of them do that. A somewhat popular early one, Risk of Rain, doesn't. It has mostly fixed levels, the procedural generation being limited to the enemy spawns and some elements within the stages. But the level designs themselves are fixed, which is good for the overall level quality because it meant that it was designed with a purpose. And so for the most part, it's actually pretty good. And it doesn't run into the issue of just there being dead ends with absolutely nothing of worth down them. And yet, so many roguelites go for the procedural generation just full in, and it results in issues with level design like that. If I had to guess, it would probably be because most of the big early roguelites use that. You know, your original Binding of Isaac, Spelunky, Rogue Legacy. And so that just kind of became a staple of the genre because those early adopters used it. I guess it's probably also because it's probably easier to do that than it is to just design a good variety of levels from scratch. Not saying that designing a good procedural level generation algorithm is anything easy, but it's more bang for your buck than designing each level by hand. It is kind of a shame though. I would like to see more roguelites that do the Risk of Rain thing where it's fixed stages with procedural elements within them. I think that can be more fun if you design the game around it. I feel like this game would actually benefit from that somewhat, given the Metroidvania elements they seem to be trying to include. Because those Metroidvania elements such as alternate paths and unlocking permanent power-ups to go to new places are kind of at odds with the whole procedural level design thing. It results in those extra paths oftentimes just being like small side rooms rather than anything big. Okay, this is a bad situation I got myself in. One more hit and I'm dead, I think, so let's use that healing potion now that I have the chance. Okay, I managed to recover there, but now I have more asshole wizards to deal with. Thank God they have low HP. Still no weapon upgrades. Come on, game. Throw me a bone that I can actually pick up for once, please. Okay, before I forget, I'm gonna go and pick up this strength upgrade, since it'll be useful immediately. Unless I do that. Ah, those shield guys always end up attacking more quickly than I give them credit for. Ooh, another strength upgrade. is the game just gonna give me another strength upgrade? Okay, at this point I'm convinced that the seed I'm on is never actually going to give me a weapon upgrade, and is just going to give me increasingly more strength upgrades as I go along. And just force me to use the Nutcracker, poor damage and all. Has the, I think the stage music has stopped. It's supposed to, you know, loop, but I think it might have glitched out a little bit. It's kind of a shame because the music in this game is quite excellent. Definitely one of the better overall things in it as of now. I should actually see if they offer the soundtrack on sale, because I would be tempted to pick it up. I think last I checked on the Steam page they didn't, but I might not have just looked hard enough for it. I always have a hard time finding the DLC on the Steam store pages for some reason. Okay, I think the music started back up again. It's just in the quieter part of this stage's music, which is why it's less noticeable. Still no weapons. Thanks, game. Okay, let's see. Are any of these amulets better than what I currently have? Nope. So, let's just pick up that scroll of power and I guess funnel it into strength. It's the only thing that's going to be immediately useful to me. I guess I could increase the efficacy of my freeze grenades, but... oh goddammit, look at that. There's a balance blade, which at this point would be a better weapon. Right over there, but can't do anything with these sarcophagi just yet. I think though that this is the stage where I unlock the rune that lets me interact with them, so if I can do that I can retreat back here. I'll have to try and remember that. Alright, note to self. Shieldmans can still guard even when frozen. I mean, at this point I'm two-shotting the wizards when before I was three-shotting them, so I am seeing a damage increase. Just not as great of a one if I actually found a weapon upgrade. Hint hint, game. Damn it. Okay, it might have been... I think it's the other third stage, the old sewers, where you unlock the other rune. Not here. My only path onward is to the Black Bridge, which is where the first boss is. And I'm just gonna say right now, I don't exactly feel fantastic about tackling this boss with the Nutcracker. Let's see, is there anywhere I haven't explored in this stage? There's a little bit over on the top right, it looks like. It has an ice grenade, and it might have some other stuff if I can get up there, so let's check that out. Alright, this is definitely better than my ice grenade 2. But, it's not the weapon upgrade I was hoping for. Yeah, the old sewers elite enemy that guards the rune is pretty tricky if I recall. I had some trouble with that on my first file. I might try to unlock that post-haste because if I had that on this run, I'd actually have a weapon upgrade by now. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I've explored everywhere else it looks like, so I don't have a close to teleport it. Time to go fight the boss with a level 1 weapon. This'll be interesting. At least for the first part of the fight, I'll be able to just stun lock it, thanks to this weapon's ability. Actually, hold on, what blueprints do I have? Okay. So that's a magic spell that is technically a weapon. And if I unlock it right here, and I have the cells to do so, I'll get a free copy of it. I could also do that with the Assassin's Dagger, and this is a boss that has a backside. So you know what? Despite saying before that I was going to forego unlocking the Assassin's Dagger, I might just do that. It's a choice. So Lightning Bolt carries risk since it has a bit of a charge up before you actually get to the good damage. You have to use it a while before you actually get the critical hits. And if you use it for too long, you start taking damage yourself, and that might be tricky against this upcoming boss. But I really want to keep the Assassin's Dagger out of the item pool because it's just not all that great of a weapon. Let's go with Lightning Bolt, I like it more. And then I can funnel more cells into the healing upgrade. Alright, enemies burn when they die, not useful against the boss. But boosted damage when I inflict a critical hit, that is fantastic for this one. So yeah, let's, actually, you know what? No, never mind. I was gonna say the Nutcracker actually does pretty solid damage at this point, 622. But the Lightning Bolt does more per hit, and just look at the speed at which it hits. It's quite fast, so yeah. Nutcracker is indeed hot garbage at this point. The shield, as rarely as I actually use it, is more useful. Alright. Let's see how I do against the boss. Hello there, incomplete one. It's time to complete you with death. Actually, if I rely on my freeze grenades and then just spam lightning at it, this might work. Yeah, I'm doing a decent amount of damage. Of course, it's still early on in the fight when the incomplete one isn't all that dangerous, I was going to say, but they have upgraded him. He now has a damaging aura around him. He did not have that before. That was not part of his move pool. That makes him considerably more dangerous, but it also makes range damage more useful against him, since I can attack him without being hurt by that. As much as people complain about that mechanic with the Smelter Demon in DS2, it is pretty good to give to bosses to make them more resistant to melee. Which was sorely needed in this guy's case, because before he was kind of a chump. Now he's actually kind of threatening. Fortunately, the Lightning Bolt seems to be coming in very handy here, as are the freeze grenades, not for the freezing, but the slowdown that happens when he thaws out. That's what really saved me there, I think. Alright, that went surprisingly well. Oh, hello. There appear to be... oh, 2 paths here, that's right. Because there's one of these hourglass doors here if you're speeding through. I never actually unlocked one of those. I gotta try that at some point. I'll wait until I have a larger pool of good items, though. So let's see... yeah, let's keep funneling into the healing potion upgrade. If I can beat the next stage, I'll get a second charge from my healing flask, which should help tons. Yeah, that enemy type is called the Slayer, if I recall, and they are pretty nasty, those huge swordsmen that I haven't actually seen yet on the runs I've done on this file. They do a lot of damage, they have a lot of health, and they are very fast. And the elite version is only more so in that regard. There are some item setups that are pretty good for dealing with him, but of course it's pure RNG as to whether or not you have them when fighting him. This time right here, though, is when the game actually starts to get really difficult, when you get past the Black Bridge and get to the Fog Fjord, which is probably my favorite level from a visual design standpoint. It just looks fantastic. But here's when they start throwing mini-boss-like enemies at you as regular enemies, like those big axe dudes. They're just a regular enemy at this point. Fortunately, my lightning bolt is putting in a lot of work here. I am very glad I decided to unlock that. Oh yeah, Meat Grinder plus Turret would do a fantastic job at murdering him. That is a good combo. Ooh, let's see. Yeah, so they definitely rebalanced the shop prices. Previously, everything, even at this point, was going to be like under 5k if I recall, and now it's double the price, if not more so. But it seems like you get more gold overall as well, so it's not just a price hike that they did. So this double arrow means that it is an especially good item relative to the area that you're in. So it's a level 6 ice grenade, +1 to strength, bleeding when thawing out, and slows down all nearby enemies. As much as I really want these twin daggers, I honestly think this ice grenade is actually more worthwhile. I'm not sure though which one I should replace, because the Ice Grenade 3 isn't a whole lot worse, and that +1 to skills is a pretty significant upgrade. The main thing is I'm not sure if the same bonuses of the new Ice Grenade and that one over here, the Ice Grenade 4, if they would stack or not. Let's go with this one. I like the +1 to skills. And if I can pick up another 8k gold in the meantime, I can get one of these, either the daggers or the level up, so I'll keep that in mind. I like the music in this stage. It reminds me a lot of Pirates of the Caribbean. It has that same sort of orchestral sweeping sound to it. Probably intentional given the fact that it's a wharf area. Alright, gonna wait for my grenades to cool down. Don't want to tackle these fat boys without them. Now I gotta wait for them to be clustered together and spam and lightning and I'm good. See, as long as I handle encounters like this carefully, I'm actually pretty good. It's when I rush in with a bit too much bravado that I end up screwing myself over. Like I nearly did there. Okay, wow, there's a lot of frame drops here. I'm not sure why that's happening, I might have to look into it. There aren't exactly extensive graphic options for this game, but there might be something I can toggle that alleviates that issue. It could just be because I'm streaming it though. Gotta love technical issues. That's my favorite part about playing video games for the internet. Okay, nothing too interesting at this shop here. Oh, I tried to do the, Ooh, I didn't realize that was at a height to hit me. I tried to do the, ground pound, but I failed to do the input. That's like the second time that's happened, I think. Wonder if that's because of the frame drops or not. Ooh, can I attack this guy through this gap in the wall? Nope, yeah. You can only roll through these, unfortunately. You can't actually attack through them, which is fair enough, I suppose. Because if you could attack through them, then the enemies could as well. And they'd probably stand to benefit from that more. God, I love how stupidly strong the ground pound is if you do it from a high enough height. Sometimes it ends up being your main form of offense depending on what your loadout is. Let me just heal up here so I don't get one shot. There we go. Could have handled that a little bit better, but it also could have gone worse, so I'll take it. Alright, I might have to do some parkour shit if I want to get up there. It's one of the cool things about this stage's level design is there's a lot more verticality to it, and a lot more ways that you can proceed. Okay, this is not working out. I kept trying to rally from him, but I just ended up taking more damage in my attempts to do so. Oh yeah, that right there is one of your other greatest allies if you don't have a good gear setup. Doors are basically impenetrable shields if you're not the one attacking them in this game. And that comes in so handy in so many situations. Alright, here's my chance to access the rooftops that were over there, I think. I think I can make this. No? Maybe I need to proceed further on then. You generally don't need a double jump to access there. Yeah, you just gotta find the right part of the stage. Damn it, that exploded a bit more quickly than I realized. Okay. Thankfully I managed to rally that all. Yeah, I don't exactly feel comfortable about facing an axe elite. I think I'm just gonna ignore him. I have the freedom to do that. Unless I'm an idiot and attack him with my lightning magic accidentally. Okay, well, he doesn't teleport around until I get him to half health, so I think I'm going to continue to ignore him. That is still the safer option for me. Proper weapon upgrade? Nope, more skills. Oh, I never noticed that, yeah. Well, I noticed that the elites are trapped in place, but not that they're basically red-colored versions of the cells that make up my being, my character's being. I swear I'm not actually secretly a blob of sentient cells in real life. Although, technically, I guess by some definitions you could say that's what life is, now that I think about it. Anyway, do I want to give up one of my ice grenades? I really like that +1 to skills, but those are some really nice bonuses on the grenade 6. Plus, it gives me a pretty strong direct damage option, which I kind of need, since the lightning bolt requires a bit of a time investment first. Wait, elite meat grinder. Is that saying meat grinder as in it's going to be a tough encounter, or as in I'll pick up a meat grinder if I kill it? Because that was not something they did before, tell you what item you got. Oh, this here is also a new feature. There are now vines that grow downward. Previously there were only upwards growing vines. So that's a little bit of a shortcut that you could use if you wanted to get around the enemies. Fascinating. Whoa, that guy's fast. Honestly, I kind of miss my double freezing though. I might go back and trade this grenade back. I'll stick with it for a bit longer and see how I feel about it. Yeah, honestly, the damage isn't as high as I thought it would be. What is the damage on the stat sheet? It does 245. Yeah, that's only 150% more than the ice grenade, without the additional effect of freezing. So even though it has the biter swarms crawl for my victims, I don't actually think it's all that useful. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go back and replace it with that freeze grenade. If I can remember where that was, that is. Okay, hold on. I really did not handle that well at all. I took more damage than I should have, which is to say, damage at all. I could certainly use some healing, that's for damn sure. Okay, that is a rude placement. Just ambushing you with an enemy right as you exit the area. Not cool, game. Not cool. Okay, I don't want to blow open that door because then I'd have to face cannoneers on both sides. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna retreat down here and basically just ignore everything. I could use some more gold, but I think it's too great a risk of death. So yeah, I'm just gonna see if I can make it to the exit, then do the backtracking I need to do to make it back to the shop so I can pick something up. Ooh, monster eye, tasty. And so I can retrieve that ice grenade, and then I'll just proceed onward to the next stage. It's just too risky to fight everything at this point. Of course, that's dependent on me actually finding the exit, and in this stage it can be difficult indeed, rather than being at the end of it like it is with the other stages. Instead, it is somewhere in one of the houses, but you have no idea which one. It's generally later on, but sometimes it can be surprisingly early on that you encounter it. And that makes actually exiting in this stage somewhat trickier. Which again is cool, it's a change up from the way the previous stages are laid out. It might be here though, you never know. Come on, weapon upgrade. That's kind of one. Oh, that is absolutely one. Holy shit. This is a fantastic item. So, it's a weak knife, but that weak knife damage is boosted hugely by the fact that when I throw it, it also fires an arrow thanks to that random bonus. And it applies bleed, which does a lot of damage over time. And if an enemy dies while bleeding, nearby enemies will begin to bleed too, and that bonus has surprisingly large range, although they might have toned that down. So if you kill one thing, everything around it will suddenly stop bleeding, and that can end up causing a chain reaction that just wipes out crowds of enemies. Ooh, this is fascinating. That is also a new feature. It looks like there's an entire section of the stage that is guarded by one of these hourglass doors. So yeah, it might finally be worth speedrunning this. Oh yeah, look at that. That stockade or message or whatever the hell that is over there. I definitely need to do a quick run at some point. But as I said before, I want to wait until I unlock more useful items for the item pool. So that way I'm more likely to receive good items even if I just rush past and don't thoroughly comb through the stages. Okay, so there must be an entrance here that I ignored in my just kind of rushing through. I don't think I've been in here before, I'm not sure. No, wait, I have been, yeah, I remember this one. It was the other exit out of there that I called so rude. I might have no choice then but to kill these dudes just so I can explore the roofs more freely. Or I can just knock them off, that works too. Oh no, you wanted over here. Okay. I didn't realize that. Okay, I'm not talking much here because I'm just focusing. I really don't want to die at this point. Oh yeah, look at that. I just throw an ice grenade, everyone freezes, enemies die, then they all start bleeding all of a sudden. Well, they would if I used my throwing knives. I haven't been doing that too much, I realize. Yeah, no, the Spartan sandals, as much as I enjoy them, would be a downgrade from my throwing knives at this point. Yeah, I definitely might need to tinker with my stream settings. The game is stuttering a bit more than when I did local recordings. Which is weird, because you think they'd be the same intensity on the system, but apparently not. Oh, technical difficulties. Okay, so I explored the rooftops on this side pretty thoroughly, I think, so I must have to head back over to the left to actually find my way. As an aside, that's also a good way of designing your political methodology, heading to the left. Just saying. Oh, I tried to do a cool stomp down onto him, but I just kind of slid off. Whoops. Yeah, I'm just gonna ignore him. I don't want to waste my time with that one anymore. So I did say I want to go back for that ice grenade. The main issue with that is I don't exactly remember where that was. Might have been in this room. I'm hoping it was. Perfect, okay. And that'll have the side effect of improving the damage of both ice grenades I have, thanks to that +1 to skills, yeah. It was a mistake to give that up before. Okay, hello. That was rude. Yeah, let's bring up the map. Okay, I think that door right in the center, where I'm focused on now, that's the only place I haven't been. I think that's where I need to go now. Yep, there are enemies here. I have not explored this place thoroughly. So this must... That did a lot of damage. I'm not entirely sure what did that amount of damage. I think it might have been one of the cannonballs lost among the crowd. Damn, though, that was close. Glad I have those HP upgrades. So since that's probably the exit, before I go there, I'm gonna head back to that shop at the beginning. I think it was over here. No, it was the first one I came across. Or one of the first ones, I think. Check both of them. Yeah, okay, that was the gold door, and yeah, the first one was the shop. I did remember correctly, I just didn't trust myself enough. Okay, so the real question is, what do I pick up? Lightning Bolt certainly is good, but Twin Daggers honestly might be better coupled with my throwing knives, if I actually start to use them, that is. Because they're an excellent source of range damage. And so I don't really need the Lightning Bolt as range damage, and I can get a close ranged weapon. Not to mention plus damage on a frozen target, and I'm using a lot of freezing. But a passive level up would also be nice. I think I'm gonna go with the level up, just to give myself a little bit more HP. If I don't keep constantly upgrading my health, then I'm gonna get one shot when I head into the next stage. Jeez, I forgot just how massive the stage actually was. I think half of the total time I've spent on this current run has been in this stage, in fact. Just gonna wait for them all to turn around eventually, hopefully, maybe not. Here we are. Here's the exit at last. Thank God. So I've actually managed to make it to the graveyard on my second run with this character. Not too surprising since, again, the game doesn't really put much emphasis on persistent upgrades like, say, Rogue Legacy. It's more focused on player skill as far as actually proceeding further, so let's immediately unlock that health potion upgrade. 2 uses will help me a lot in the graveyard. Otherwise, I don't have enough to unlock anything new, and I'm not sure I would use it if I did unlock it. Gold recovery certainly would help. Then again, unlocking more weapons would also bring me closer to being able to get a random starting weapon, which I really want. So yeah, let's start funneling cells into that. I remember liking the heavy crossbow. It's basically the medieval equivalent of the video game shotgun. Huge amount of damage at close range, nigh worthless at long range. Which is a cool bit of contrast. Having a technically long-ranged weapon be better at close range like that. Alright, graveyard time. So, one thing I remember about this stage is that enemies really like to explode into other enemies on death. Yeah. Let me just say, I am glad I have those frost grenades. It's probably best if I don't waste them at the start of the encounter. Use one to freeze the initial enemies, and then another to freeze the birds that appear. That'll definitely be a better way of doing things, I think. So if you thought the previous stage was massive, this one is even more so. And even worse, it's maze-like. Oh boy. You have to go down certain pathways in order to unlock keys to advance through doors. Which I do like. I do like that they keep introducing new mechanics to the stages, and I hope that they continue to do so as they add more stages to the game. But it certainly does make this a trial to beat. Ah, see what I mean by the chain reaction with the throwing knife? Wonderful. Yeah, I realize I keep forgetting to use these. It's an ever-present issue I have in games like this where you have loadouts. There's always some part of it that I forget to use. Despite the fact that these guys look pretty similar to the axe dudes that I had no trouble with, they are actually a lot more dangerous, as I am showing off right here. This might be the end of the run unless I can find the time to heal. Wow. That was close. I might actually have to use 2 healing charges here. I can put off the other one until I take a bit more damage. So yeah, that was 2 nasty things in a row, not just those ridiculous executioner guys that live to grab you from across the room, sometimes out of your camera range depending on where you're angling it, and do a lot of damage. Not just them, but there's also a fog wizard asshole who actually obscures the enemies that are around, and until you kill them, you can't see the enemies unless you're right next to them. And it is some nasty ass shit. Just gonna cheese these guys from range. I really don't want to take damage like I did last time. Actually, I don't think it was a fog wizard. It might have just been a part of the environment that prevented me from seeing them. If so, I think that's actually a new addition. Bear trap. So at this point, if I make any adjustments to my loadout, it's gonna want to be to better equip myself against the second boss, who I've never actually fought before, but I've seen other people fight. And given what I do know, I think the bear trap will be completely useless, so not gonna go with that. Jeez, those birds do a surprising amount of damage for how small they are. I always underestimate them. Yeah, I'm gonna have to use that other healing charge. Hopefully I don't make any more major gaffes. I'm not surprised though that this is where I start to run into real difficulty. It's the final stage as of yet, and it is appropriately tricky. God, look at those bleed stacks, that is fantastic. Yeah, I might actually just want to focus on the throwing knives, honestly. I think they might actually be better damage than my lightning bolt at this point. Okay, there's more of that annoying fog. Maybe that's just a passive ability that some enemies have now? That might be the case. Either that, or there is a fog wizard ahead that I just can't see. Yep. There he is. Saw him off in the corner there. What a prick. Probably should have saved that heal in case I take more damage here. Whoops. Bit too quick on the trigger finger. Or the mouth finger, I guess. Sounds dirty. I can't even see my... Okay. What? Well, that was inexorably rude. I couldn't even tell what was happening down there, but I got utterly destroyed. I tried to lob a freeze grenade as soon as I dropped down, but I guess I didn't have the time to actually do that. Yeah, really wish I had saved that kebab, although if I hadn't I might have actually killed over there, so maybe it was better that I ate it. Kind of funny how in this game you can go through so many encounters without taking a lick of damage or rallying it all back if you do. But then there's always that one that you just screw up so damn much and you end up with less HP than you started with. It's just interesting how the gameplay is designed to cause that. It's not like an ever-present threat like it is with, say, Binding of Isaac of dying. Instead, it's just something that happens suddenly and without you even really properly realizing it. Well, at least that's always been the case for me. And that's a cool way that this game is designed, I think. Okay, so there's the key I need to unlock that door, and that's what is progression. I'm just gonna ignore the rest of the enemies that are in here. It's really not worth killing them. But I can also head further on to the right. Now, previously there wasn't anything over there, but there was stuff that suggested that they might add stuff later on. So, at risk of dying, I'm gonna go check that out just to see if there is something over there. Nope. Still a door that you can't open from this side. I'm gonna guess that that'll be another stage at some point in the future. An alternate exit. A new boss, perhaps? That'd be cool. Alright, so I'm pretty much at the halfway point. At least that's what I've always thought of this door as. So let's see if I can make it the rest of the way. I certainly don't have a lot of health with which to do that, but as long as I take things slowly and steadily... Yeah, look at the range that that hook they have has. It goes an absolutely insane distance. Basically, if they see you, they're grabbing you. That's what makes them so threatening if you're not constantly angling your camera around to spot them ahead of time. Oh great, we got fog here. That means there might be enemies below. Usually you can see them as shimmers, but I'm just gonna play it. Yeah, I'm glad I played it safe. If I had dropped in there with that jerk, I'd have probably died. So yeah, it seems that in this stage, sometimes there was just fog in areas. Okay, no, it was just another fog wizard. Weird. I guess in that first instance of fog I encountered then, that keeps making me think that that's the case. I must have killed the fog wizard without seeing it. Okay, I was able to see that big executioner guy when he was at the edge on the left. I'm gonna wait to see that again, drop down to get the meat, and then retreat. Yep, I think he's moving toward there. I saw a shimmer. And if I can kill the fog wizard, that'll give me a better way of approaching since I can actually see what's happening. Okay. All of a sudden, I'm in a lot better position to actually win this. Unless I make a mistake like that. Yeah, they really just love putting those hook dudes around with the fog wizards. In fairness, it is a pretty effective combination at killing you. Okay, I think I can lob the ice grenades upwards if I do a double jump just right. Let me try that again. Okay, not quite how I'd intended, but it still worked out. I wasn't sure if there were other enemies up here or not, so I wanted to approach it carefully. Ooh, I actually managed to get out of his range, thankfully. Otherwise I probably would have been grabbed. Okay, I don't know which path the exit is down, but I just had to pick one and choose. Hopefully it's this one. Oh great, more fog to deal with. Oh, and wizards. I was wondering why I could see that glowy bit through the fog. The other wizards are more noticeable in it. Alright, well he's close by at least, but I have no idea what the enemy situation around him is. So I'm gonna play it safe and just lob ice grenades all about. I actually like that I can spot some of the enemies through the fog by making them bleed like that. That is such a handy bonus. Okay. Kill you. Kill the fog wizard. Hopefully there's no one else down there that will kill me. Okay, that worked out. There's enough resistance here that this might be the way I need to go. You think you can beat me, fat boy? No luck. Ah, of course the only thing down at the end of this path is a sarcophagus that I can't currently interact with. That is just my luck. Probably some kind of incense, what, the fog that they create? Oh, that would actually make sense. I'll try and get a better look at the fog mages, as I call them, next time I see one. I'm sure there'll be one around somewhere. You know, it might actually be worth picking up this nutcracker over here, honestly. Because at this point, it would be of a high enough level to be competitive, and being able to stun could come in handy, I'm not sure. Yeah, I might give up the throwing knives for it when I'm ready to head on to the boss. Ammunition-based weapons are nigh worthless against the bosses because you only recover ammunition when you kill them. And obviously killing the boss is the whole ordeal itself. You're not going to be doing that in the middle of fighting it. So you basically have however many max shots you have, and that's it. Which makes ranged weapons just so less useful than they usually are. So yeah, it'll probably be worth swapping out to the Nutcracker for that and having the lightning in my offhand. For now, though, I'll be sticking with it because it is so useful for dealing with these crowds. Oh, now this is interesting. I don't remember the name of the area that the second boss was in, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't the Insufferable Crypt. I wonder if that's the new stage that they've added with this update. Let me see if there's another exit down one of the other paths that I didn't go down. Worst case scenario, and I end up taking a lot of damage and surviving, because the actual worst case scenario, I guess, would be me taking a lot of damage and dying, so second worst case scenario. But I can always just end up retreating to the door, since that'll take me to a break room where I can heal up. Again, as long as I survive. Okay, so there seems to be another fog dude around. He said that it's probably incense. I'm just trying to see if there's anything about its sprite that would suggest that. Oh, yep, those are incense lanterns, absolutely. Good job noticing that detail, I never did. Oh, I wonder if this is just going to end up leading back up to that fork. Oh no, it leads to a shop. Ooh, it might be worth picking up that balance blade. In fact, I think I'd rather have that than the Nutcracker if I'm picking up a weapon for the presumed boss. But again, I'm not sure if the Insufferable Crypt does lead to the boss or not. Because I've only seen people fight the boss, so I don't really have a good idea of what its area's name is called. I do still have that other path to go down, of course. I will pick up this level up. I have enough gold to pick up one of these other things, even with that. Should I go for a bit more tankiness, more weapon damage, or more skills? Oh yeah, absolutely. That's actually a psychological thing. I can never remember what it's called, but basically you can only handle so much visual stimulus and other types of stimulus at once. And if there's so much on the screen, you literally can't see like some other elements. You know, that whole viral video of like the two teams playing basketball, and then after you watch it, it ends up asking you about the bear that passes by, and no one ever notices the bear on their first watch. I really wish there was a teleporter right there so I didn't have to go past these spike traps. Oh well. Okay, so... Ooh, gold. Yeah, there's still that other path that's up here that I want to check out. See where it leads. Although I'm starting to think it might just be a dead end or something. If it is, then I guess the Insufferable Crypt is where the second boss is. Alright, we've got a mini shop. Ooh, I really like the electrical whip. It's not a super powerful weapon, but it's one of the longest ranged melee weapons, so it's very safe to use. It'll be a choice between that or the balance blade. Okay, yep, so only one door to go down, so that must be where the boss is. So do I pick up the whip or the balance blade? It says bonus damage on a frozen target, certainly useful. I forget what the bonuses were on the balance blade. Wasn't one of them an effective level up? Let's go check that out. Plus, I think having a very fast weapon would be useful against the boss. Then again, the electric whip is fast as well. Yeah, this gives me +1 to skills, which is going to make my ice grenades stronger. Yeah, I think that's the better choice. And I'll be getting rid of the throwing knives. Although, given the fact that they're 3 levels above the lightning, they might actually be more useful. Like, say, if I keep them all towards the end of the fight when things get hectic, presumably, given how the first boss went, then I can just use them to kill the boss at ranged. It's actually not a bad idea. Let's try it. Okay, wow, this is a first for me. This is the first time I've actually made it to the second boss. Let's see how it goes. I would like to be successful here. That would be a fantastic capstone to end this stream on. But we'll see. Flings enemies and bombs backwards. That's pretty rad. I wonder if its description is gonna reference Shovel Knight, because some of the weapon descriptions are a little bit referential. And if there's something you're gonna reference, if you're gonna be referential, especially if you're an indie game, it's gonna be Shovel Knight. I don't have the cells to unlock it just yet, though, unfortunately. I'll finish off unlocking the heavy crossbow, and then funnel the rest into the shovel. Ooh, +3 to ammo. And it does do a lot of damage, but it's also, as I said before, more of a close range thing. So if I want to cheese the boss to death with it, this would not be the ranged weapon to choose. But look at that damage number, 3k. That's pretty huge. But I think I'll stick with what I currently have. Okay, so I have 2 frost grenades, a pretty solid melee weapon, a pretty good ranged option, a good amount of stat ups, and 2 healing charges. I'd say that's a pretty good setup for fighting a mystery boss. Yeah, okay, this was the area's name. So this is the second boss, the Watcher. I've only ever seen the first parts of him, so I don't really know what to expect as things go on. He has a similar, attack as the regular flying dudes, where he sends out a line telling you where he's gonna go. Okay, I also have to be careful with approaching him because he has those blasts that he shoots out. Okay, there are also tentacles. I'm gonna guess that I have to kill those. I think he has, he has a shield and I can't even get up to him. So, basically, don't stick around when these guys pop up. Unfortunately, I cannot freeze them, it seems. But they don't seem to attack after they've popped. up. So as long as I can avoid that initial attack, which I'm really bad at doing, wow. They're not so bad. Yeah, I'm gonna have to use one healing charge immediately, which is not a good sign. Alright, one more tentacle. Oh, come on, I rolled there. Ugh, I was stuck in the attack combo. Oh, I can freeze the boss, but not for long. Alright, gets a bit more vigorous with the bullet patterns. Oh, come on, I gotta rally that. Okay, so that was what hit me last time, that close range shield attack. Okay. Now I know that that's a thing. Oh, it's actually probably worth gonna be using the knives against these guys, since I'll be able to recover them against them, while eking out damage at a distance. Okay, so they actually do have an attack. Look at the knives just floating in the air above where the tentacles are. That's a little bit awkward. Might want to change how that works, game devs. Oh, I'm out of ammo. I'm gonna have to kill these dudes if I want to recover that. So basically, I never want to stand in one place for too long. That's a recipe for getting hurt by these tentacle boys. And those waving ones are really nasty because they're surprisingly quick. God damn it. So much for ending on a success. Oh well. I didn't even get to the halfway point, so I don't get to see when the boss gets really crazy. That'll be for another day, I suppose. And I mean another day quite literally because, that's enough streaming for now, I think. Ugh. Thanks to anyone who watched. That was fun.